So I want to do like a full wrap up of all of kind of June's pickups and talk about my trip to Southern California. So normally when we fly into like Los Angeles, we fly into Santa Ana. So we flew in there. It's just an easier trip for us to get kind of where we're going. We normally go for Disneyland. So when we're there, it's a shorter trip than going to LAX. So we flew into Santa Ana, and when we got there, we jumped in an Uber and headed to our hotel, which is actually right across from like the main gates of Disneyland. So when we got there, we kind of got settled in. I'd been messaging with Russ Lyman a little bit up till that point. So Russ and his family were staying right there too. So we ended up meeting up with them, got to have a nice visit. It was great to meet Russ and hang out with him that night. It's amazing how just this hobby of video games really connects a lot of people. Like me and Russ, we visited like we'd known each other for a really long time, and it was kind of the first time we'd really met in person. And you know what? I kind of saw that theme throughout the whole trip, meeting people that I'd never actually met in person before and getting to see Russ meet people that he'd never met in person before. We're all connected through this. And even if you're just watching one of these videos and have talked to some of these people, a lot of these guys, they're just the same people you talk to or see in the videos. Not a lot of faked, maybe a little turned up a bit, but the same guys that you're talking to. So the next morning we picked up our rental car and we headed towards Huntington Beach because we honestly love going there and checking it out. So after hanging out at the pier for a little bit, checking out the beach, I was messaging back and forth with my buddy CJ. Now CJ works at Hidden Gem Video Games. You would have seen him in the last video, and we kind of got lined up when we were going to be there. So we made a quick stop at a store called Ecotech. Now Ecotech is one that I checked out my first time kind of filming for YouTube, but they really didn't have a ton there. They have a lot of import stuff, nothing I was really looking for, but it's still a great store to check out. If you're looking for those import games, those Japanese games, Ecotech is definitely a place you should check out. So after Ecotech, we headed over to Hidden Gem Video Games. If you haven't checked that video out, definitely check it out. That's a really awesome store. Got to hang out with CJ and the owner, Punky. It was such a great time there. Like, Hidden Gem is just such a fun time. Definitely check that video out. I don't want to spoil too much here. So I'm not going to talk about that one because go and watch that one and you'll be able to see what I got there and what I kind of left behind. So after Hidden Gem Video Games, we drove over and checked out Retro Games Plus in Huntington Beach. Now, Chris from Pixel Game Squad, he owns those Retro Game Plus stores, and they've got a lot of stuff in there. We didn't make it to their Lawndale location, but the Huntington Beach location, super cool, packed, floor to ceiling with items, so much there, so many awesome games. Now, I picked up a couple games there. I messed up a little bit, and I got another copy of Bases Loaded free, thinking I needed that, but I don't need that one. I also picked up Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry, I wasn't really sure on this one. I wanted to add this one to my collection and check it out. I'm pretty sure this is like a side-scrolling one. I think he's got his giant gun that you can shoot people with. Interesting looking game, interesting looking cover on this one. I don't know, I just wanted to add this one to the collection. So another one that is, I feel like one of those games that I'd never seen before, never heard of it, didn't even know it existed, was like, what is this? I kind of had to look it up. And after getting it, I've seen it literally everywhere. I think I've seen it 10 times since picking it up that day, and I had never seen it before. It's going to be Space Shuttle Project. This one apparently is kind of a rarer game, even though that, like I said, in the last 2 months, I've seen this like 10 times. This is kind of a more difficult game. I actually enjoyed this one. You get this one and it starts out, you're definitely going to want to use your phone or something and take some snapshots of the initial screen, because you're going to need to know what ship you're on and what that password or code is for that ship, because you're going to have to input that stuff to make it to the next level. And that's kind of what this one is kind of progressing one step at a time until you're in orbit, I guess. I've made it through the first couple of levels because I thought this was an interesting one. Definitely something that I didn't expect to find, but one I'm really glad I picked up, even though I've seen it a whole bunch of times since. So that was it for stores on day 1, but day 2 we had some more plans. Now my friend CJ over at Hidden Gems, he kind of been suggesting some stores, so we definitely checked those out. Now there's gonna be videos for a bunch of these stores. I really have to go digging through the footage and edit those, so those are coming in the future. If you're interested in more of these stores, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this one. There's like the bell notification, I'll let you know when some of these videos come out. I've got a ton of footage from SoCal, so I'm gonna try to sprinkle it through as we the months continue, because right away here in Canada we're gonna slide into winter, and then my traveling kind of turns down a little bit. There's nothing like having to drive for 2 hours through a snowstorm for something that should take 45 minutes to get to an airport in the middle of December. I ain't doing it. First store we hit up on day 2 was Game Dude, and that store is massive. Now we did a lot of touring around. I picked up a game for a friend there. I got Vigilante 8 on the N64 for him. That package is actually getting shipped out today or Monday as of filming of this. So Kai, dude, I promise it's on its way. Things have been super hectic here. Game Dude was a really cool store. It was huge. There was so much stuff in there, so many games. Kind of interestingly set up, I would say, with like this aisle down the center. Honestly, there was so many games there that I didn't even get to look at half of them. But one I did get to look at was Gremlins 2, the new batch. This one I picked up there. This is a really cool game. It's got that top-down view. I think this is an interesting game. I know there's a few people that really love this. I know Scotch Squatch loves this game. Thinks it's the best one on the Nintendo. And I'm pretty sure Riff at Pixel Game Squad likes this one too. So this is one I'm really excited to dig more into and check out a little further. But added this one to the collection too. Now after that, we went over to Retro Respawn. That is such a cool store. Again, I've got footage of all this stuff, so subscribe and you'll see some of these stores later on. Now with SoCal Gaming Expo, basically like the next day, everyone was packing up and getting ready. And Retro Respawn was absolutely full bore getting ready for it. So I ended up going through a couple boxes, looking at a couple interesting things. They showed me some really cool stuff. He's got a really awesome display piece. I really hope I can get a good video out of what I have for that, because again, they were basically in the middle of packing up for SoCal. So I needed to get a Disney game because I have some plans for that too. And the one I found there, the one I was actually looking for when I walked in that store, I picked up on the NES. It's gonna be the Jungle Book. I love the art on this. Like, look at that. That is super cool. I love that cartoon look. This is a really cool game. This is one we're gonna look at in a future video as well, where we're gonna look at a bunch of Disney games kind of from Disneyland. So if that's something you're interested in, I hope you'll enjoy that one when it comes out. That's gonna take a lot of work. That one I'm really excited to do. I need to make it perfect. So Retro Respawn was awesome, left there, and we drove over to another awesome store and we checked out Game Tower. Now there is a video out from Game Tower already, check it out. And that one I looked at their booth at the expo, and I also looked at their store. So you kind of get a double shot in that one. Check it out if it's something you're interested in. Now after I'd stumbled the day before and got the wrong bases loaded game over at Retro Games Plus, I figured myself out and I picked up Bases Loaded, the first one. This is like the classic. I love this one. I like that it doesn't even say Bases Loaded on there. So like if you're looking for it on your shelf, you have to know if it just says this, it could be Bases Loaded. I think there's 2 or 3 of them I did that on. Why you wouldn't have put Bases Loaded on there for these ones? I mean, come on. But I added Bases Loaded to my collection there. Really excited for that. I also added one that I had as a kid and was really excited to pick up. This is a great game. I got Bionic Commando. Oh, I'm so glad I have this in my collection now. This is one of those ones that when I started this journey, I was excited to pick it up so that eventually down the road, when I have that wall of Nintendo games, I can have my friends over and be like, dude, have you ever played this? You have to play this. And pull it out, we can throw it in the system and they can just enjoy it. Now, I also got another one that completed a set for me. Wasn't really a set I was super gunning for, but I really liked the first one. So I picked up Tiny Toon Adventures 2 Trouble in Wacky Land. This is a little different from the first one, still a really fun game, but I already had the first one and I had the Animation Academy one, so excited to get this one and add this to the collection. So the next day we went to Universal Studios, checked out that Super Nintendo land there. That was really cool, really enjoyed it. It's a little smaller than I kind of expected it to be, and it was just really, really packed in there that day. Super fun, super cool place to check out. If it's something you're interested in, I definitely would suggest it, but just know you're probably going to be pretty shoulder to shoulder if you don't get like the early ticket for it. So SoCal Gaming Expo, there's a video on that one. Honestly, it's one of my favorite videos that I've done. Definitely check that one out. Now, if you haven't seen that one, watch that one after. If you want to pause this and go see that, please do. I'm not going to spoil anything here because at this point, I feel like most of the audience knows what I got there. So SoCal Gaming Expo, that was such a great time. Honestly, the boys, they really went above and beyond for that show. It was like busy both days. You don't normally see it as busy on the Sunday as you do on the Saturday, but like it was crazy, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun hanging out with Russ, getting to meet Mort, bumping into the Pixel Game Squad guys again, getting to meet Curtis, which was awesome. It was funny because we had a little interaction outside, kind of in the lineup section, and like you could tell, Curtis was looking at me. I was looking at Curtis. We were both like, "Do I say hi?" Curtis was like, I know who that is, but I don't know who that is, right? Because we never actually met in person. So that was really cool. And then getting to talk to him later on was awesome. I mean, they had a skate ramp. There was bands playing. Morph's band played. Super cool stuff. That expo, if you're in the area or have the opportunity to go to SoCal Gaming Expo next year, please do. That's one that I am dedicating myself to go to. I'll figure it out no matter what. Such a fun time. Just a great experience. I loved it there. So day one, we adventured around. Day two in the morning, we went to Rose Bowl Flea Market with Retro Rick. Definitely check that video out. That's a fun one too. And honestly, by the end of the day, I was a little sad it was over. It was so much fun, such a great experience. But what I wasn't sad about was all the games I came back with. So I went in with my hit list, was gonna get some games off of that, and I definitely succeeded there. I got Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This is a really cool one. I'd never played this until now, and I love this game. This is so cool. I love what they did with this. So glad I put this one on the hit list and was able to pick it up. From my buddy Travis over at Woodman Classics, I got Shatterhand. This is a crisp copy from him. Came from his collection, so I knew it was gonna be like top end. This is such a fun game. So glad I took this off the hit list. Now, I was gunning for Earthbound. If you've watched that video, I found Earthbound. Just not there, but I definitely found Earthbound. It was one that I was looking really hard for, but I found it. Really glad for that. Didn't find it there, but I'm including it in this video because it's attached to that SoCal experience for me. Oh, I want to mention that with Shatterhand, when I got home, my buddy Craig, really good friend of mine, he actually had picked up the manual for me, so added that. So now I have the game and manual for Shatterhand. Craig, dude, thank you so much. Now, speaking of my buddy Craig, there was a game that he was looking for, and I was able to track down. Thanks to Gabo. Gabo knew where it was, sent me over, and I found it. So I ended up getting him Toxic Crusaders. Now, I gave him Toxic Crusaders. Really excited for that. But the one I gave him, that one actually came from the boys at Pixel Game Squad. So I was actually able to pick up one for myself while I was there, too. So now I have a copy of Toxic Crusaders as well, which is awesome. Craig was super excited for what he got. Totally awesome, and really glad I could get that in his collection. Now, I picked up a couple other games. I completed a set. I got Rad Racer 2. Excited to have that one. That completes that Rad Racers set. Now, when I walked up to Mort's booth, he had something that I was quite excited to see, and honestly didn't think I was going to be able to afford. And then he was like, "Oh, no, check it out." So I opened it up, but I got Metal Storm in this like rental case. I got this from Mort at his booth. He had it on a really good deal because, open this up, the cartridge is cracked. You can see that cracking there. That doesn't matter to me because it's from Mort. So Mort gave me a smoking deal, and I added Metal Storm to the collection. I don't even care. Mort, if you're watching this, dude, I love this game because it came from you. Doesn't matter. That's awesome. So glad I have that in my set. This is a really pricey game, and the deal I got on it was amazing. So thank you to Mort. Again, thank you to Gabo for pointing me in the right direction for that Toxic Crusaders. Another shout out I really want to make is to my buddy Manny at Manny's Arcade. Manny hooked me up with some really awesome games. Now, as a kid, I have an experience with Jurassic Park, the movie, the first movie. I went to it for a friend's birthday party. I'm a little ashamed to tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyways because y'all might as well know about it. So we got tickets to Jurassic Park when it was in theaters, and it was my buddy Nathan's birthday. Now, the weeks leading up to the birthday, we were all jacked up. We were super excited for it. I had some of the Jurassic Park toys. Like, I was ready to witness me some dinosaurs. So for his birthday, we end up rolling in to a theater, get all settled in. I think there was 4 of us. We got settled in to watch this movie, and the movie came on. And if you've seen Jurassic Park, like the first 10 minutes, maybe only 5 minutes, is with the raptor. They're putting the raptor. It's in the cage. They're sliding it back. The guy gets knocked over, falls down, gets sucked into the cage. And I don't really know if I was of the age that I really should have been sitting in a movie theater watching that, but that shook me. It shook me right to my core, and I was a coward. And I got up and I left the movie theater and I went and played the arcades for the duration of Jurassic Park. Didn't watch it at all. I'd seen the first 5 minutes and it scared me. So I played video games for the entire time. I was like, this movie's stupid. I don't want to watch it. Then when it came out on VHS back then, I ended up watching it, and I regret being a silly kid and not experiencing that in the theaters. I guess it's interesting that I have that odd experience, but I love Jurassic Park. After that, Jurassic Park is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's a really close race with Back to the Future and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective 2 When Nature Calls. I don't know why. I love that movie.
Friends, rodents, quadrupeds, lend me your ears.
But there was video games for that, and one that I had as a kid was Jurassic Park on the Super Nintendo. I don't think this is a very good game. I don't think people really like this game. I love this game. Putting it in and playing it after I picked it up, I don't know why I love it. I just think it's such a great game. I had that Dr. Grant action figure, this guy here, when I was a kid, so I've added this back to my collection. This is definitely a series that I think I want to collect when I kind of venture back into toy collecting. But top-down view, it was this guy, right? It was this guy walking around in Jurassic Park, the video game. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, is because it reminded me of that toy. So I was really excited when I added this one back into my collection. Honestly, Manny dude, thanks for having this one. But Manny also had the second one. This is one I'd never played. This one seems to be more side-scrolling. I think this is really cool too. I'm really glad to have that set. I'll probably get the Genesis one too. There's a couple Genesis ones on there. Probably check those out too. But honestly, I'm just so excited to have those games in my collection. And while I was there, when we were at Rose Bowl Flea Market, I got a RoboCop VHS. This guy right here, and honestly, that kind of turned into a RoboCop gag for the day. Every time Russ saw something that was RoboCop, he was like, you should get this, it's RoboCop. So I had to get something. I wasn't with Russ when I got this, but I was at Manny's booth and I was getting those other two. And he was like, you want anything else? I was like, you know what? I'm going to get RoboCop 3 so I can tell Russ I got more RoboCop stuff that day. This one, really difficult. I don't even know how to play this one. I mean, I know I walk and I shoot. I can change my guns, but I ran out of bullets right away. And I just kept getting killed. I don't know. This might be a really good game, but I'm going to have to figure it out. Now, a game that I didn't really expect to love, but there was definitely some suggestions that I should try it. One I've never played before. Honestly, when it came out, when I was of that age, when it came out, I wasn't playing the N64. I didn't own an N64. And when we would rent the N64 to play, because you could rent the whole console, right? This is definitely not one that I was looking at. And man, have I been missing out. For a really good deal, I ended up picking up Paper Mario on the N64. I am addicted. I'm in love with this game. When I'm done this video, I'm totally going to play it some more. This is such a great game. About halfway through this one, loving every second of it. This makes me excited to get some more of these games in the series. Honestly, I'm probably going to have to finally break down and buy a Switch for myself so I can finally check this one out. So that's everything I got at SoCal. Really the whole Southern California experience for me in that time there. Got to meet and hang out with some great people. Honestly, I made some really, I think, what'll be lasting friendships. So I did end up going to Golden West Swap Meet and got to hang out with the Pixel Game Squad and the Camel crew. Went for breakfast with them that morning. Twisted, dude, thanks so much for driving back to the hotel. Curtis, man, thanks for being so nice and driving me around while I was there. Dude, like, you guys, all you guys are so awesome. So back to the hotel I went. I ended up crashing for like 2 hours, had to check out of the room, directly to the airport, and flew home. There should be some footage. There should be a video of Golden West, which was a lot of fun, had a blast there. There should also be some videos coming of the stores we talked about in this video. Those are awesome. I'm really excited to put those together. And there is gonna be one coming. I do have this clip. Honestly, there's some really fun things coming for the channel. So I hope you stick around, that way you can catch all the other videos.